Okay. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. My name is Udish. I'm a global black belt looking after threat portfolio within Microsoft. I belong to a group called Cybersecurity Solutions Group within Microsoft. I'm based in Australia, Melbourne. I look after the region of Asia. Earlier today, I spoke about threat protection strategy within Microsoft. And part of the threat protection strategy, I spoke about some of the components which I'm going to talk about today, or in my session, in this session, which spans across security management and specifically secure scope. So, I know we spoke about some of these things in some of our earlier sessions, but I just want to reiterate some of the topics that I'm going to cover. Across industries, there are many challenges across security management. When you think about, a lot of organizations have multiple solutions deployed to cover various aspects across their enterprise network. That could be due to having multiple point solutions, or that could be due to various reasons. So increasing complexity, also another reason why a lot of organizations are looking at to increase the number of point solutions that they have to deploy. And when you have multiple solutions deployed, it creates a lack of visibility because most of the solutions are not connected to each other, which means there's a lot of work that the security operations, security administrators have to do to correlate all that information to give actionable intelligence. Because of that, it creates ineffective response. Because as I mentioned previously, the correlation part, if you don't do that properly using the tools that are available, it can create unnecessary events or unnecessary signal that may be not relevant across their tenant. Again, if you look at some of the other challenges that we see across our customers, identity-based attacks are up by 300%. And first, identity-based attacks this is a common thing that we see every year. I remember going back a few years ago, this is one of the core areas that's been targeted by attackers across many organizations, specifically in some of the developing countries. It's because most of the developing countries does not have proper controls or proper mechanisms to protect the identities of their end users. So we help our customers to have proper controls over, to make sure that their identities are protected. And information, again, is the key when it comes in terms of protection point of view. After all, attackers are after information. They can use that information to either for financial gain or for various things, that whatever they want to do. As you can see, 96% of malware are automated or polymorphic, which means that attackers, it's not how it used to be. When attackers create all these different campaigns or different attack vectors, now they try to fully automate their attack vector, which means that from detection point of view, it makes it harder. It makes the components that you require to detect and remediate, essentially the attackers trying to make the security operations teams work harder. Then we spoke about the security solutions or point solutions that's been deployed across in many organizations. As you can see, the number here is below around 60. So this again adds more complexity across the organizations. Essentially, that's the summary of this slide. Then, as a organizational CISO, what would be their reaction in terms of how they can manage some of the challenges that we pose or that we spoke about earlier? When it comes to the connected world today, a lot of organizations are relying on technology, and it's a technology-driven world to make sure that their digital transformation is in correct path. Whether you use whatever the assets that you use, whether it is in the cloud or on-prem or in a hybrid environment, we see there are 4 key components that our customers should be using. That spans across identity, devices, application data, and infrastructure. And those 4 components are span across visibility, control, and guidance. And that's essentially the security management imperatives that we're going to talk about today. So how can Microsoft help? How can Microsoft help our customers and our partners? Let's take a look at some of the controls that we have enabled, so our customers and partners can get the full utilization out of it. So we already spoke about identity, devices, applications, and infrastructure as the 4 key areas from security management point of view. Again, one of the key things that we spoke about earlier is the intelligence security graph. In my earlier session, I sort of deep dive into how we collect intelligence across the Microsoft network and how we share that intelligence with our customers and partners via various ways. What you see here is that we across identities, devices, application data, and infrastructure, all this information is powered by the intelligence security graph, because the signals get shared across all of these areas, and essentially you get the power of what we see and what we collect, and the signals that we the threat signal, or whether that's a target system. Whatever the signal that we see as part of the intelligence security graph, we will share that with you. As part of security management, there's a component called Microsoft Secure Score. So I'm not sure whether any of our customers have seen this Secure Score or not in the past, but Secure Score was initially introduced into Office back in 2017. If you are an Office customer, if you're using components of Office, or if you're using Windows Defender, you may have seen the Secure Score component, which is built into the console, built into the portal to give you visibility and make it actually has an option to give you suggestions. That's an area that we're going to deep dive today and give you some visibility into some of the action items that you can take, and give you some of the roadmaps that we're going to discuss. So essentially, Secure Score is a set of analytics that we decide how a set of analytics that we identify across your talent to give you a score to benchmark yourself with other organizations or with your peers, and also give you guidance. As part of Insight, I briefly spoke about the visibility that you get across 365 EMS and Windows 10. And as part of Insight, you also can look at the historical scores and trends within your tenant, which means that you can look at some of the trends that has occurred within the days. 90 days, 60 days, or 30 days, you can pivot into each area to look at what has changed or what activities has been triggered. And you can easily compare, as I mentioned previously, you can easily compare your score with other organizations in the world within the civil industry. Again, I mentioned earlier that Secure Score has been available as part of Office since 2017. And here you see many controls for Office 365 in the service. However, we have recently added support to show the Windows secure-based data on Windows Defender ATP. What you see here is the secure score that you get as part of the Compliance Center and also the Windows Defender ATP. We have integrated this into a single portal to give you visibility. I spoke about the historical score and the trends. So you can measure yourself how you've been tracking in terms of the secure score for the last, from 90 days, 60 days, and up to 30 days. And this can be done in a single portal across either Office or with Windows Defender ATP. You can also integrate this into your other applications such as SIEM using the APIs that's been available as part of the solution. More than happy to share how some of these things can be done. There's permanent documentation available in terms of the integration via API. I also spoke about the comparison between your secure score and how you can compare yours and with other industry organizations. So as you can see here, I'm gonna expand this slide to give you some visibility. As you can see here, Microsoft Secure Score can identify similar industry trends across Microsoft to give you that visibility. If you try to achieve the best score here, I mean we can give you the recommended score here, but if you try to achieve the best score, which means that your end users may end up hating IT, which means that you won't be making that many good friends with your IT department, because there will be restrictions that IT would put in to restrict users by stopping them on certain activity. So we definitely consider this as a balance act between IT and with end users to identify how you manage your controls within your tenant, and also keeping security in mind. So this pivots into how can you model your ideal security score. The ideal security score, we can give you guidance in terms of how to determine that, and we can give you controls and the criteria how to have the ideal security score within your environment. And even if you were to have a third-party software to support some of the controls, you can take that into consideration. You can make exceptions using the third-party controls that you have built into your systems already. So you're not totally relying on Microsoft solutions. I will show that to you in my demo, how you, in terms of the guidance, how some of these controls are going to work. So we spoke about how to model your ideal security score. As part of Office 365, this is the area that you can take a certain action in terms of creating your security score. I will do a demo on this to give you visibility in terms of how to create this, but as you can see down here, there are various actions as an administrator or as a security person can take based on the suggestions that we give here. So, as an example, right now, the target secure score is 397, and the current security score stands at 220. And below, you see all these different actions that you can take to go to that desired security score, which is 397. So the 397 security score is purely based on this level that you have set here in the middle, which is the grid, this red color tab that you see here. And this is again fully customizable based on your requirements. The administrator or the security operations team can manage that. Right. So we spoke about earlier taking actions as part of the security score. So this is an action that you can take, enable MFA as part of the security score. In this example, that there is action recommended by Microsoft. If you take these steps, then it will essentially increase your security score. So the administrator or the security operations person can go into this area and say, yes, I have MFA, I'm going to enable it. And if that person were to click on learn more, it will take you through the steps in terms of how to enable that. And if the organization were to have a third party or MFA type solution, once you simply click on that, it'll detect that yes, the administrator has identified that there is a third party solution, and the customer will get the score that's based on what we have identified here, which means that it comes as a tick box. Yes, I have achieved MFA across my users. This is essentially enabling enabling the third-party solutions across the secure scope. And again, within Microsoft, we understand that not everyone is using Microsoft or complete Microsoft solutions. Whenever you are using third-party solutions, we totally respect that, and we totally support that. Let's look at a demo, and I'm going to deep dive into two areas, essentially. All right. As you can see here, I'm looking at the Office 365 secure score. What you see here is the secure scores, the current secure score, which is 200, which is out of 118. And to create balance across what's being required by IT and what's required by end users is essentially being done through this this portal here. And as you can see, there are actions that's been highlighted towards the bottom. If I want to achieve this score, which I have set in the medium sort of space, there are certain actions that's been highlighted in terms of what I need to take to achieve the secure score. So you can deep dive into any of these areas, including the first one is around MFA to privilege rules. Second is requires MFA for all users. Let me pivot into one of them. So as you can see here, it gives a brief explanation what each component does, and also gives you visibility and into the score that you are going to get if you were to enable this, and also give you some of the threats that you're going to stop by enabling MFA. And if you happen to use a third party, which is a non-Microsoft solution, you have the ability to classify that in here, which means that you will still get the score, but yet you're protected. So what you see here is purely the Office 365 Secure Score. Again, since this is a demo environment, not a lot of information is available from Windows side, because this is a fully configured Office or a pure Office environment. The other demo that I like to show today is the direction that we are heading towards. Let me see if I can get my laptop screen to work and extend it. All right. So in my earlier session in the morning, I spoke about the Microsoft Threat Protection Strategy, what we announced as part of Ignite in Florida last year. So the direction that we are heading towards is to enable and also consolidate some of the consoles that we have into a single portal. To make it more effective from administrating sort of point of view. Second, it gives complete visibility across all the different controls that we have within our solution stack. Third being, it's a single place for an administrator or for security operations person to come and visit to get visibility across the entire tenant. And if the security operations wants to jump into or wants to pivot into each individual component, they have the ability to do so from this portal itself. Right. So what you see here is there are various aspects in here, but what I'm going to focus today is the Microsoft Secure Score. Let me pivot into that, but before I pivot into that, as you can see, there are different numbers in here, from identity, data, device, and application. And obviously, infrastructure is also available, but it's not configured. It's not configured as yet. So the security score has expanded from when it was introduced back in 2017, starting from Office, to all of these areas, from identity, data, device, applications, and also infrastructure. When I put it into the Microsoft Security Score as part of Microsoft Threat Protection portal, you can get a lot of information across your entire tenant, depending on what solutions that you have deployed and depending on what solutions that you're using today. what we can do is we can look at some of the actions that you can take to improve or how to improve your score. Let me zoom out so you get the full view. What you see here is that different actions recommended by Microsoft so that you can improve your score. We spoke about enabling multi-factor authentication for privileged roles. That will add 50 points towards your total security score. Similar to that, there are all these recommended actions that's been highlighted in this portal. So then the administrator or the security person logs in, they have complete visibility in terms of the recommendation. So from security point of view, again, the organization can be fully aware of the recommended actions in terms of how to prevent them and also how to protect their tenant. If they want to track in terms of some of the controls that's been detected and also been identified and also been deployed, they have ability to do so when you go into the history tab. Essentially, that will highlight what controls that's being deployed and the trends around that, which again spans across all the control points that we spoke about. So this is essentially the security score across all the solutions that we offer. So what you see here today is going to be the future within security score for Microsoft, which spans across not just on Office and Windows, but also identity, application data, and also infrastructure to give you complete visibility. Let me go back into the slide deck. I'm sure many of you have questions on how do we calculate the security score? And what information that we collect from your tenants to calculate the security score? It is a process that we go through to calculate the security score. Essentially, what we do is we collect telemetry from SharePoint, Exchange, and OneDrive, and also Azure Active Directory, specific time 1 a.m. every day, to look at all the behavior and pattern that we saw across each of your tenants. And we apply ML and AI into that to create the secure score that we spoke about earlier. And that can change every day, every night, depending on the activity, depending on global trends that we see, and depending on the intelligence that we collect. And if you happen to pick that you're using a third-party control, it will go into a separate workload or a separate container to assess the secure score that we should be providing. So we assess everything that you use and provide you intelligence to make your organization safe. So essentially, in summary, we spoke about secure score and we spoke about security management in high level within Microsoft. There are different controls that we have depending on the solution stack, depending on the outcomes that you're after. It also gives you guidance on how to increase your security posture by helping learn about what other security features that you have in your disposal, which you can use, which you can increase your security posture by using some of the recommended tools or recommended features that we have available to you. I hope that was useful. And if you have any questions or feedback, please feel free to put that on the YouTube channel. I have a question here in the audience.
Question of the 1 a.m. What time zone?
The question from the audience is what time zone that we that we update a secure score. I said 1 a.m., that's 1 a.m. Pacific time zone.
Thank you.
Are there any questions from the YouTube channel?
No, very sad. That's it.
Thank you very much.